everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about something a little different than what you normally see on my channel. I'm sure you guys have all known from my vlogs and everything else that my dad has been going through some treatments. I'm making this video not for attention, but that someone out there who is going through this same thing and dealing with that their parent has cancer and they don't know what to do. I'm making this video so that they can relate to someone, know that they're not alone. I'm going to start with my story and how everything led up to be. About 3.5 months ago, probably almost 4 now, I received the most heartbreaking news anybody had ever told me in my life. I thought I had felt heartbreak before, but nothing compared to this. I think it was around April 30th. I was out living my normal life, and my mom called me and told me that my dad was in the hospital. And it's not the first time I've heard those words before, so I figured he just had a heart attack since he had suffered 3 heart attacks already. My dad had been feeling sick for a while. He had been having these flu-like symptoms where he had the chills and fevers and just was never feeling quite himself. And my dad's a go-getter. He loves working. He's very active, and this was not normal for him. But he had been going to the doctors and getting tests, and they were just giving him antibiotics to treat the flu and thought he had some sort of maybe infection. He also wasn't able to attend my first premiere because he had been feeling so sick, and this was about a month before he went to the hospital. I guess the day before, I had been texting my dad because I could feel that he was kind of avoiding me. My dad does this thing where he doesn't like to tell me when he's not feeling well, when he's sick, when he's in the hospital, and he just suffered a heart attack. I usually find out about an immense amount of hours later, or maybe even the next day. He does it to protect me, and he doesn't want me to worry or anything like that. So he called my mom, and my mom said, "Your dad's in the hospital. They think he has some sort of infection." And I was like, okay, well, when can I go see him? It was already later in the evening, so my dad said, "They're just going to be running tests. I'm going to be in the ER. It's not worth it to come." Even though I wanted to be there, he said, just hang on until the morning. And I said, even if you're not in the hospital, I'm going to come see you. And it turns out he was still in the hospital. And they thought he had some serious infection. And they couldn't figure out quite what it was. They just knew that his white blood count was doubled. And usually when that sort of thing happens, you either have a serious infection or it has something to do with your blood, which is also very serious. I remember laying in bed the night before thinking, but blood cells, that's very serious. That's not something to joke around with. There's something seriously wrong. And I had been feeling signs of just like something was not right in my life. And I had been telling my mom, please, can you go to the doctor? Like, I know you're healthy and you feel great, but I feel like something's not right. And little did I know those signs were telling me that it was my dad. I had a realization that it could be cancer. But I didn't want to come to terms with it. I didn't want to think about it. I was trying to think positively and hoping it was just an infection. They're going to get him healthy again and everything will be okay. I get to the hospital the next day and I see my dad. The worst I have ever seen him in my entire life. Knowing that I've seen him after 3 heart attacks, he has stents in his heart, nothing compared to what he looked like laying on that bed. The night before, he had gone with my uncle to a Dodger game, and he had eaten a burger from Dodger Stadium, and he said he ate it and it was like gross, and he had felt when he got home that the burger was just lodged in his throat, and he didn't like the feeling, so he had forced himself to throw up, and in this process he threw up blood. And obviously when you throw up blood, that's a serious sign. And so his friend took him to the hospital the next day and said, "This is ridiculous. You're going to the ER and you're going to see what the heck is wrong with you." In this whole process, he had torn his esophagus, which was also very painful. So that added on to everything and made him lose a lot of weight because he couldn't eat. And after all of this, I had gone there, and I guess they had told the doctors that because the doctors had said to them, you know, it's a possible chance that you might have leukemia, but we're not 100% sure yet. And they had told the doctors, please, his daughter is coming. We want to be the ones to tell her, please do not come in here and just talk about it with us. Please pull me outside, or say that you need to talk to him alone, or something. And I was sitting there, and my dad's friend had stepped outside to go to the waiting room and make some calls and stuff. And I was sitting there with my dad, and this doctor who didn't get the memo walked in and said, well, the test results have come back, and we're about 90% sure that you have leukemia. And my dad just looked at the doctor and said the most confident and calm okay that I had ever heard. He wasn't fazed, and it didn't shock him because he knew he was going to get through it. And I think of this moment all the time, and it's probably one of the worst moments of my entire life, was sitting there and hearing that and seeing my dad just look at me with the biggest eyes and saying, and just telling me, Daddy's gonna be okay. But I was so full of emotion in that moment. I was angry, I was devastated, I was horrified. I ran out of the hospital room and just sat down on the floor, and I just said, why? Why my dad, out of all people? He saves lives for a living. He's a good person. Why are you doing this? Why does this have to happen to him? And I still don't know why. To this day, it still angers me, and I'm still upset about it. Probably the next step of it all was to inform everyone. And those were probably more heartbreaking things that I had to do. But in this moment, I had to put my big girl pants on, and I had to be an adult in this situation. And even though I'm 22 years old, I'm still learning how to be an adult. And, you know, I've been fortunate enough to not have to deal with sickness or that many deaths in my life, but it seems like within these 2 months I had suffered a serious death, my dad being diagnosed, and also a very other close death to our family. And it just felt like my world was crashing down, and I didn't know what to do. And I was sick. I was crying in bed every single night. I called my brother. I called all my best friends. You know, people always say anything can happen, and it takes a minute for anything to happen. And live your days to the fullest, because you don't know what's going to happen in the future. You don't know when it's going to be your day. You don't know what's to come. And I couldn't believe this. It felt like my world was just tipped upside down. I was doing so well in my career. I was doing so well in my schooling, and everything just halted and said, no, sorry, your life can't be this good. Here you go. I'm grateful for every day that I'm with my dad now. I'm grateful to see him, and that he's alive, and that everything is going to be okay. After this whole thing, there wasn't one thing I wanted to do. All I wanted to do was to be with my dad. And if I know one thing my dad wanted me to do, it was to live my life and work on my career and do my schooling and live my life, because there's nothing I can do to help him but be positive for him and to smile. and tell him that everything's gonna be okay and just reassure him that this is a bump in the road. About a week later, I had just been doing nothing. I had just been driving every day to see my dad in the hospital, and it was about 45-minute drive. I didn't care. I needed to be there to be okay and feel okay, even though the situation was not at all okay. I needed to feel that I was with him, and there's no place I would have rather been than to be there. And I finally stepped outside for a bit and had lunch with a friend, my friend George, who always encourages me to do good and to work hard. And I told him, I'm feeling so depressed. I don't want to wake up in the mornings. I don't want to realize what's happening. I just want to sleep it all away, and I feel so terrible. And he said, why are you feeling terrible? Why are you in bed now when you're supposed to be doing everything you need to do and more right now for your dad and for yourself? You can't control the situation, but you need to move on in your life, and you need to do what you need to do. And he couldn't have said it any better. It's not the exact words he used, but I'm just paraphrasing because he probably said it a lot better. But it spoke to me more than anything anyone has ever told me. You know, everyone says, you're gonna be okay, it's gonna be okay, he's gonna get through this. But no, someone needs to slap me in the face and say, live your life. You can't just sit there and cry about it. You need to be positive, and you need to work hard now. And so I did, and it's one of the reasons I actually started this YouTube channel, was so I could document my dad's journey, because I want to make a huge video for him showing what he's been through. No, he never once complained. He never said, why me? Why is this happening to me? He just took it and said, okay, this is something I need to get over in my life, and this is just another bump in the road. I can get through this. And he's amazing. And he has so many friends and so many people supporting and rooting for him, and you know, that just makes it all more worth it. Every day after that day, I texted my dad every single night, or I called him every single day, just to tell him that I love him, because God forbid something happened to him, I would have never forgiven myself. So I made sure that he was always okay, and that I always said I love you, but it's so true. It's just a real eye-opener. After my dad was released from the hospital, the first month this was all going on, he went through intense chemo, and they said, you have two types of leukemia. You have chronic and acute leukemia. Chronic can be treated with a pill and you can go on and live your everyday life, but acute, your best bet is to find a transplant donor, and that was the next best step for you. They said if your blood counts get worse as in the middle of the time that we're looking for the transplant, we'll have you in for more chemo just to kill them off. But as for now, you can go back to living your everyday life and just build yourself up easily and get stronger so that you're ready for your transplant, and that you can go into it with your full strength and your full mentality that everything will be okay. In this month, they said the first people we're going to test will be your sister. So they tested both of my aunts, and both of my aunts were negative. Then they said, we're going to move on to your kids. And I prayed so hard that I could be a match for my dad. And please, if you give me anything in life, please just let me be my dad's hero. Please let me be his cure. But unfortunately, I wasn't. The day I needed to go and get a test done, I was meeting my dad at the hospital that he's being treated at, and I met him there, and he comes up to me and says, guess what? And I said, what? He says, they found me a match. And I've never been so happy in my entire life. He was so happy, and he just knew. You could tell in his face where he just, I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be saved and everything will be okay. And my dog's here. He's like, why are you upset again? And I wanted to break down and hug him. Bless you. I just want to tell you guys that are going through this that everything is going to be okay. And even if the outcome isn't what you wanted, even if they're not as fortunate as my dad was, you just have to go through this with a positive mindset, because nothing else is going to change. Because the first thing that I thought when this was all happening is my wedding. He's not going to be able to see my kids. I was already foreshadowing things that were going to happen in the future. I wasn't thinking positive. I was only hurting myself. And that's all you're going to do to yourself with that negative thinking, is hurt yourself. You know, you need to be that smiling face that your parents see when they go in, when you walk in that hospital room. If you're crying and miserable, you're only going to make them more miserable. Even if you feel like you're going to break down, try and hold it together. And just show them that you're okay, and that helps them be okay. Get out of bed is my second one, and live your daily life. Do what you're trying to accomplish in your life. Don't stop it. And most likely they're in good hands, and they're in the hospital, and they're being treated. And that doesn't mean you can't go see them, because by all means see them as much as you can. But don't stop your life, because that all your parents would want from you is for you to be their sunshine and brighten their day and their strength. That's all you need to be, is their strength. Third tip would be to join a support group or join a non-profit cancer organization, or get therapy, or do something good for yourself that's going to help yourself. Because I did all those things. I wanted to get therapy because I had a lot of other stuff going on in my life too that I'm not going to get into, but this all just happened to me at once, and I didn't know how I was going to handle it. I was lashing out on people that shouldn't be lashed out on. I was, very angry, very quiet. I didn't want to have fun. I didn't want to be happy. I didn't want to smile because I felt guilty when my dad was in the hospital, fighting for his life, that I couldn't be happy too, but that's not the case. You need to treat yourself and keep yourself as healthy so you can be with them, so that you can't be pushed away from them because you're not healthy. If you're depressed, you're not healthy. If you're, not getting enough sleep, if you're not eating healthy, if you're not getting exercise and doing what's good for you, that's not healthy. And it's going to affect you in a certain way where you get sick, or you start getting into bad things, and it's not good for you. So what I did was I found this non-profit organization, which one of my dad's friends told me about, and it's actually weirdly up the street from my house, and I could walk there. And I met with a lady, and I told her what was going on in my life, and she told me that if I come here, for free, I could do any of these things. It's a self-help center, yoga. I've never tried this, and I don't think I want to, but hypnotherapy, group meetings. And what I did was I joined a teen support group, and I recently went there for the first time last month. I felt a connection to them. I felt that they knew exactly what I was going through, and that's why I'm making this video, so that you guys can relate to me and say, yes, that's how I'm feeling. That's what I needed to hear, because I want to. My dad has inspired me so much that I want to be an inspiration for someone dealing with this type of stuff. And I got a therapist through this nonprofit cancer organization. After therapy, I said, I still have so much anger in me, I just want to hit things. And I was like, I'm going to take a boxing class because that just looks like fun, and I felt like it would take my stress away. And you know what? I joined that class, and not only is it a good workout, it just helps immensely. You have to find what's best for you, and these things may not be best for you, but I'm just trying to help and give you ideas for what I did that's helped me, and I hope you guys take some of these things into consideration. And even if you don't have a nonprofit cancer organization, or you don't have money to boxing or anything really, always call a friend. And we all have at least one close friend in our lives, or boyfriend, or anyone, and if they're your friend, they'll talk to you and they'll listen to you, even if they're not saying anything, and even if you just want to cry on the phone with them, they'll be there for you. I have so many close friends that I couldn't have gotten through this without, even if it was just them texting me, hey, how are you doing, how's your dad? It means so much to me. And you know, strange people come back into your lives and you're like, wow, you care about me still. And it's crazy. And even though you're staying strong and you're doing all the right things in your daily life, you have full permission to come home and cry yourself to sleep. I cry myself to sleep almost every night since that day, and it just flows of an emotion, and I say my prayers and I just cry and I cry and I cry. I thank my boyfriend for staying up with me through some late nights and showing me that it's gonna be okay, and keeping my emotions under control when I have no more tears to come out of my eyes because I've cried so much. I also want to take the time to just thank everybody that's been with me on this journey, and from the Facebook statuses and the people's comments, I read all those over and over. You never know how you're going to react to something like this in your life, and I sure didn't. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you'd like an update on everything that's happening with my dad, please sure to follow my channel, subscribe. I post videos of him at least once a week, either if it's walking in the hospital or laying in bed, just to show his progress. And right now he's just finished getting his transplant, and he's on the road to recovery. I just really needed to make this video, and it took me a long time to get the confidence to make this video, but I'm hoping that I will be glad that I did, and that I can help someone in need. And I'll see you in a much more happy and exciting video soon. Bye!